Okay, we have horse number 1, Rigby. Rigby's a really pretty thoroughbred type, really elegant. That's my type of horse. Off the bat, I'd like to see this horse moving a little bit more forward, and he looks a little tricky in the contact, so maybe a little bit more bend around the circle, help supple him. This walk starts out really good, and then the horse loses a little bit of the reaching through the top line and the pole. So the rider could gently give a little massaging half halt and maybe a little inside bend to try to keep that horse reaching through the entire free walk. And then be careful as you're coming out of the free walk gathering your reins, that it's a smooth, thought out transition, a little more prepared. This turn could have used a little bit more left rein, left leg coming through the turn, keeping the shoulder straight. Walking down center line and being straight is really hard. I think walking gives you a lot of time for wiggling. This horse is wide behind in its halt. Again, in the trot, I'd like to see this horse a little bit more forward. I'd like more swing, openness through the back. I would do spiral in and out of my circle, leg yield, play with your bend into the inside, get him to soften, and then a little counter bend, get him to soften, but keeping forward. This walk, again, starts out really nice with reach, and then halfway through, the horse seems to lose a little of that reaching for the contact, so keeping the walk forward, a tiny little half halt with the inside hand just to keep him bending and coming into the contact. This turn looks like a little bit better, a little more control through that left shoulder. The horse seems a little wiggly, so the rider just needs to be very consistent and very clear with her aids about the straightness she wants. Horse still a little wide behind in the halt. Now here I want to talk about the rider position a little bit. I would like to see her shorten her reins, and then that will allow the hands to move forward instead of coming back towards the hip. If your reins are a little shorter and your hands are more forward, you can just bend your elbow more for contact instead of taking your arms back towards your body. Again, more forward here. And I'd like to see a little bit more consistent inside bend. So here we're going to some more free walk. I like this walk. Don't forget to keep the forwardness. The horse is reaching a little better. Prepare for your transition back to medium walk, half halt, prepare. In a canter, I like the balance here. Again, I would like to see this rider maybe shorten her reins, give the hand forward, and follow the contact better. Another thing I notice is that the rider tends to lean towards the inside with the shoulders, so think of bringing them up square and sitting very tall and even. And also the rider's weight seems to kind of fall out to the outside. So I would think of getting a little bit more weight down through the inside leg and the inside seat bone to keep you straighter. So I notice for the canter work, the horse has something that looks kind of like draw reins on. So that kind of tells me that there's a connection issue and possibly a shoulder control issue going on. So thinking of encompassing the horse with your outside aids to keep the shoulders controlled. So I would like to see this horse without the draw reins to really see how he goes. And again, for the rider to push the horse inside leg, outside rein, have shoulder control. And then I would like the hands to go forward, and I would like to see a release. I would like to see if this horse could get deeper and more supple. But I like the trot canter transitions. I think that will help get him more supple through the back. So now moving on to Cole, the second horse. This halt is better, straighter. Moving off from the halt, I'd like to see more energy in this trot. And again, I'd like the rider to shorten her reins and follow with the hands. Through the turn in the circle, I'd like to see a little bit more control of the shoulder. So rider pushing inside, lead to outside rein. And keeping a consistent bend to the inside. Do this turn. Rider needs a little bit more right leg, right rein to keep the shoulder straight. This horse has a good walk, but it looks like it wants to root. I would put my leg on and give a gentle, light, small upward half halt with my hands to keep him from rooting. I like to see a little more energy in the walk. Through the transition, make sure that you are keeping the body bent to the inside. I noticed that this horse has some spur marks going on, so maybe it's a hard horse to get forward. In that case, I would not be afraid to use your whip when needed, just to say hello, wake up, so that your leg aids don't become white noise. But furthermore, also make sure you're very aware of where your legs are and your feet are, and where your spur is, so that you're not leaving marks. In this turn, I would like to see more outside aid control from the rider. And I'd also like to see her half halting a little bit more, and getting this horse a little more round and supple and a little more balance through the turn. The halt here is pretty square and straight. I'd be pretty happy with that. In the trot, I would still like to see a little bit more energy. This trot looks better. It looks a little bit more through. The bending to the inside looks a little more consistent, and the horse is beginning to give a little bit through his back. So I like this trot a little bit better, but I'd still like more energy. So here, this half pass actually is quite good, but I see the draw reins are being used again, so that kind of tells me that the rider is maybe having a hard time pushing that horse into the outside rein in the bend by herself. So eventually I would like those draw reins to come off to allow the rider to make that connection herself independently. So overall, my thoughts for these two horses and this rider. The rider, I would like to see her hands come forward and follow the bit. Right now they're a little bit far back. The arm is farther back towards the hip. Also think very square with your shoulders and be aware of where they are, because especially in the canter, the rider is tilting downwards towards the inside with the shoulders. And think of keeping weight down through your inside leg in the canter, because the weight is shifting to the outside and the body is falling outside, like to the outside of your circle. So just quick fix, put that weight down through your inside leg. For Rigby, I would like to see a little bit more forward trot with bigger swing. I would work on a circle, spiraling in and out of the circle, making sure that you really have the right amount of bend through your circle. I would play with change of bend on the circle. So bend to the inside, get him supple, then bend to the outside, a little counter bend, get him supple, then straighten, and repeat. I would also do a lot of transitions, a lot of trot canter transitions to loosen up the back and the SI. He looks like a horse who maybe wants to be a little light in the contact, and I can relate to that. My own horse is that way. So I use leg yielding to help with that, a little bit of shoulder in on the circle to push into my outside rein, but make sure that you are able to not throw the reins away, but maybe shorten them, follow with your hands, but still be able to have a contact there. For Cole, I would like to see more forward, a little bit more shoulder control. He looks to me like he'd be a little bit easier to push into the contact. So I think with a combination of making sure that you are really clear with your bend and asking the horse to be a little bit more forward. And then for the rider, if you shorten your reins and you have a little bit better connection there, I think he looks like he would be a little easier to push into that contact and get him round through his back with a combination of those two things. One more thing I wanted to add, I think that schooling haunches in will be really beneficial for this rider. Haunches in has the same bend as half pass, so it'll be beneficial in multiple ways. One, you can practice the bend needed through the rib cage and the body for half pass. It will require you to be very aware of your body and where your weight is and getting that weight down through the inside leg. And also, it requires that you push the horse into the outside rein to get the correct bend. So I think schooling that will be really beneficial in many ways. Overall, I think both horses and this rider are really, really close to making a breakthrough. I feel like just small tweaks and you'll be getting what you want to be getting, and you'll have just a little bit more connection and sharpness. And yeah, I think you're headed in the right direction.